Telling me to suit up. Fuck that. It's robe season, baby. It is robe season. Robe and Japanese whiskey and beer. I think I'm live. I'm not sure if I'm live. We shall see.
No, not yet. It hasn't popped up yet.
I'm pretty sure I'm live. No? We
Yep,
are.
You just popped up.
Welcome. This is not financial advice. Okay? Just get that out of the way. I am chilling with the homies in the dojo. Got Big Stillman in the house. Big Shavi. What's up? Big Chris. And
What's up?
Some others.
Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? We're not going to waste any time tonight. We're good. We're live. Streaming at 480p, as I tend to do. No, I don't know. I think I'm doing better than that. But let's pull up BTC chart while we bring us in. Echoing. Oh, the echo. Oh, no. Well, I will have to figure that out. There really shouldn't be echo because I only have one sound. So, you're going to have to deal with it.
I don't think there's an echo.
No, fuck off. H bar is looking good, actually. We'll look at a bunch of coins, but
No echo at all.
Yeah, I don't want to know about it.
That's just trolls.
It's always the trolls.
They know how to get you by now.
No, they know how to piss me off,
Yeah.
And frankly, I would do more streams, but it's kind of like you have these bad thoughts of doubt in your mind, right? And they creep in, and I was listening to Joe Rogan's podcast, right? And I won't take too much time, but I think this is important, and that's why I bring it up. And he had a guest on, this guy named Francis Ngannou. And then if you're a UFC fan or a mixed martial arts fan, you know who Francis is, obviously. He's like the baddest motherfucker out. But if you didn't ever hear him speak, you just knew he was a guy that fucks people up, right? And for whatever reason, I am doing 480p. I don't know why. I fixed it last time, but I don't know. See, it's the demons trying to derail me. Meanwhile, I was saying something important. I will fix it later. But if you've never heard the man talk, you just know him as a guy who beats the shit out of people. But his life story, I suggest you go out and listen to it if you haven't on the Joe Rogan podcast, because basically he chronicles his story of how he went from Cameroon to France with just a dream. He had no reason to really believe that he was going to become successful in fighting. He saw Mike Tyson fight and he wanted to be a boxer. He had no real boxing training, and he picked up and he sold all of his belongings and he went on this crazy journey to try to get to Europe. He didn't know where he was going. Ultimately, he was trying to get to America. But there was something inside of him telling him, you have to do this. And it really reignited something in me, because when I first got into crypto and I first made a YouTube video and made a Twitter account, there is always something burning inside of me saying, you have to do this, you have to do it. And the worst thing that can happen is you try and you fail. And you can live with that as long as you tried. But if you never tried, you're going to live with so much regret. So, it really, listening to this guy, Francis, because he traveled the desert. He had to travel the ocean 7 times before he finally got to Europe. He gets to France. The guy's homeless. He doesn't know how to fight. And he goes into a boxing gym. He says, please teach me. I don't have any money, and they were kind to him. And obviously the guy had talent. He was a monster. And he ended up, they said, hey, you should do MMA instead of boxing because that's the only way you can make money right away. So he's like, okay, I'll do it. And he was good at it. I mean, he was amazing. So, long story short, the guy didn't have any training for real. And he gets to France in 2013. It's fast forward 7 years later. He's about to fight for the title again in a couple weeks, I believe. But just listening to that, it really reminded me of my whole life. I was kind of one of those people that had that drive, and there's something telling me you're going to make it, you're going to do well, but I had all these doubts, and I would have ideas, but I never followed through with it. And then when I got into crypto, I decided, I got to really go for this. And, you know, now we fast forward to 2020, 2021, you know, I find that I should be doing more videos, I should be doing more streams, and I have these like doubts creep up inside of me, and they're like, when you go live, there's gonna be a fucking echo, or you know, when you go live, it's gonna be 480p, or I'm gonna have these technical problems, or maybe I'm gonna give people, you know, a bad advice, or maybe I'll be wrong, and I have all these fears that creep in, and then I end up like, hey, I'm just gonna trade. I don't want to do it. I don't really care, but you know, ultimately, I feel like every time we go live, every time I make a video, like for the past 2 years now, like I feel like I do something good. I feel like I do good content. I feel like I'm helpful. I feel like I was able to help people in one way or a next, even if it's just entertain people and make them laugh. And you know, I need to do more content. So that's that. Listening to Francis turned on a switch in me where I'm like, you know what? I got to put all that fear and bullshit to the side, and I'm just going to push through and make more content. So, you know, that being said, um, let's talk. I want to talk first because this is such an important question that comes up. And I made this tweet that said something to the effect of, if your bags aren't pumping, you got the wrong bags. And it was a good discussion because there are people that were holding bags of altcoins that haven't performed, and they don't know when to get in and out of them, as well as like how to. The other question is, obviously this is a crazy, crazy bullish run. How do you take profit? How do you make sure you get paid for being right? Because anybody that's been in crypto for the past 2 years, or year at least this year, you've been right about your investment. But if you don't actually turn that into money into your bank account, then the trade is still open and you still have the potential to lose it. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And I'd like to, you know, we have other guys in the chat and, you know, some great traders in here. So I think it's an important discussion to have. Um, I'm gonna I'm gonna try to figure out why the quality of the stream is not good from a visual perspective. But I mean, Stillman, Xavi, anybody else? Do you guys have any thoughts on like how to emotionally part with a position that isn't performing, and at the same token, like, you know, something like ICX, which is actually looking incredibly bullish right now, people may have sold here to go chase something like DeFi, because the last few days DeFi coins had been pulling back a little bit. They hadn't performed, and these old 2017 WAN, ICX, Qdom, these type of coins have been performing. So I'm sure that was a major mind fuck for some people. But you know, I'd like to get your guys' thoughts on this, and I'm just gonna look into the quality real quick and figure out what the hell is going on.
Savi, you want to go first?
Um, that's I mean, I've been cutting bags. I had to, you know. Sometimes you don't know how long this window of opportunity is gonna last, and if you know, you're bullish in something that looks very, very good, and 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 but you don't have that bag because you're stuck in something else. You should not. You should consider quit that Telegram group and dissociate yourself with your feelings and just go for that money. That's what I think. You should cut that bag and probably re-enter later, even if it's more expensive. You know, when it will actually manifest, when the price action will manifest in what you think it should. But don't try to jump the gun. You know, if it doesn't play out, just wait it out and come back later. You don't have time right now. Stuff are pumping right and left 100% a day. What are you doing?
Right.
Yeah, and I think what's important there is that Zavi doesn't tell you to FOMO into like green candles. Zavi is talking about setups that make him like FOMO, right? Like he sees a chart and it maybe pumped a bit, broke structure, and in that moment it's pulling back into a bull flag, and he just knows this will go tomorrow, and that's what you are allowed to chase in the out season, basically. Like people who are one step behind every move and then, FOMO into the green candles, like even if those moves usually tend to result in continuation, you will have a bad entry and then it goes down and then your old bag moves a bit and you are suddenly underwater and you sell again. That will wreck you, right? Like you will be constantly hopping and never really experiencing that price appreciation that you're actually hunting for, right? So there's a fine balance there. You need to understand what you are FOMOing into. Like most people FOMO into green candles. That's the easy, the easy thing in the
Right.
crowded trade. But you actually want to FOMO into bullish pullbacks, in my opinion.
Yeah. I'll give you an example. So
100%.
gather, right? This chart is doing the same thing over and over and over. And I'm in the Telegram chat, so I can see and kind of gauge what the sentiment is. And I told the guys, I'm like, every time like this chat is like everybody's like messaging and it's very active, like that's probably a time to sell because it's when it's up like 20-30%. And I'm like, whenever this chat is dead and now it's in a bull flag and everybody's quiet, like that's when you want to buy. But people don't listen. But if you look, it's literally doing the same thing over and over. Like it pumps, then it makes a flag, then it pumps again, makes another flag, nice structure here. Now it's making a flag. People were buying this, they were buying 20 cents. But like ultimately, like when you look at this is a really long bull flag here. This is something that looks like it has upside, in my opinion, on a higher time frame. But as soon as like people end up getting wrecked even here. Like some guy that bought 10 cents probably ended up selling for a 30% loss at 7 cents because he didn't understand what price is doing and he made an emotional decision. So even though something is bullish, you could still get wrecked like not knowing what you're doing. Like you even though you love it and it looks good, like there's always like a re-entry. There's always a better entry. And like when we look at it on the daily, it gives you even more perspective. But I like this because it's making like structure after bullish structure and you know you don't call the top on that really. Like this can just keep going. So you know a lot of things look this way. ICX, for instance, this pump right here, this trick people pulls back. This is where the real volume came in. So now you're starting to see real volume. That's promising. This green level I've had since back here. We were remember Stillman, was it me and you? We were on stream in the beginning of the year when ICX really pumped and some guy said he was like buying like heavy like up here. I'm like, don't do that. Just don't do it because this is it's gonna shake out. Like when you make a straight up move like this, you normally are going to get this type of a price action to shake everybody out. It can't just go straight up. I mean, something that goes straight up looks like this, right? This GameStop, right? This is straight up, okay? This did from this structure 50. This did a 10x from here. So like in a matter of 4 days, it does a 10x. Guess what? It didn't put in any support. It didn't build up momentum. It doesn't have the bull flag after bull flag after bull flag, then breakouts. It's just straight up. So when you get something like that, ultimately it usually ends up going straight down. But my thoughts on when to flip bags. I mean, what you could do is you could look at and make your own pairings, right? You can compare. Let's say if you're deciding between Chainlink and ICX, you could do Link/ICX, right? Oh, wait. Let's look at Link BTC. ICX BTC. So right now, ICX is killing Link. But you're looking to see if this continues to break out. So this was in a bull flag. This doesn't give you a great perspective, to be honest, for that case. But let me see. Ultimately, what you want to do is not be in something that doesn't look promising, right?
It's actually it's giving you it's telling you something else though. They look very, very similar right there, like the
Right,
comparison.
exactly. ICX just
And
made the
like
move.
one went and the next one will probably do the same.
That's a good point, Stillman.
It's the season, right? Like if you have setups that are so similar, then a couple days later the next one will go.
That's a gem right there. Actually, I didn't even mean to find it. Yeah.
I actually have another good example of like the general topic. Can you pull up MPH USD? I'm not sure you can do
That
it in
might be on
TradingView.
ChartX,
Maybe you
right,
can.
or Dex tools. MPH.
Yeah, Dex tools would work, or ChartX.
I have ChartX here. This guy.
Yeah,
Is that the
so
one?
obviously that was an amazing call, right? Like Messiah was super early
Yeah.
in that.
Nailed it.
Our
Nailed it.
own True Degen like called it at like $24 when it came to the lows, and I also entered at like 32. But then like Messiah has a pretty big following, and he was very hyper focused on like 4 to 5 bags. So eventually he would have gotten everybody that follows him into those, right? And then what added to that was that there's this bigger YouTuber Elliot, he called it too, and that basically resulted in that FOMO pump candle. At that point, the trade becomes just too crowded, right? And
Right.
this flag has been very painful for a lot of people, I think. And Davi, I noticed this last week that the trade just has become so crowded that it needs to shake people out, right? And I think what really helps is visualizing that every day, every hour, in each of these candles, there are like actual people pressing buttons, right? Somebody gets bored and sells, somebody buys back in. You might get bored and frustrated again, sells again. That's all of that. And it's a bit different to read a candle like that. I mean, now it's curving upwards a bit and it looks actually, like it's breaking out. But a couple of days ago it was just sideways chop, right?
Right.
And
Ultimately,
at
it's
some
a
point
pretty
the
good
volume
range
dies
to play,
down.
right? If you're
Yeah,
buying
yeah, it's a
120 and
range.
selling 180, that's a great trade, and you could have done that,
Yeah, definitely. But
multiple
like
times.
people, that's actually the scarce idea, I think, because people are not looking for that at the moment. You can definitely make money that way.
Right.
And it's also like at some point the volume dies down, and now if you switch to MPH Ethereum, like um, the shape is also very, very different, and that's actually I think what can give you the final clue of what's happening. I'm just waiting for the stream to update so I can see it
Whoops.
too.
It's gonna be
Does it look like a bull
WL.
flag? Do I remember that correctly?
I'm looking. I'm getting the dead chart here. It must be this one. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, it's just like a long ass bull flag. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. It looks very different
It's
than
completely different.
the Shopee USD pair, right? And
Yeah.
and that's basic. And then when the volume dies down on that sufficiently, then that's when it can break up again, in my opinion. Then when enough people left and are chasing something else.
I think KJ is charting Morpher instead of 88 MPH.
Oh yeah, that wasn't that's not it.
This is the wrong one. Oh, but whatever this is, am I looking at the wrong thing? What should I be looking at? What's
88.
88? Oh, okay. Here we go. Oh yeah, yeah, yep. Yeah. So had you been in
Sorry,
had you been in, sorry about that, guys. But whatever I just
No,
pulled
no
up
worries.
was like a long ass bull flag. But what what uh what this means is, had you been in Ethereum, you probably would have done better from a USD perspective, and that's the frustrating part about being in this when it's doing this. So when it makes this large move, there's no shame in exiting and waiting for it to prove itself that it's going for another leg, right?
Yeah, but now it's coming into support, and that's actually one of those setups that look really juicy, right? Now if you get a volume breakout to the upside,
Yeah.
perfect.
Look how the volume. So these do not resolve until. What am I doing there? These. will not resolve until the volume is completely sucked out of it, right? So see how the volume is just going down, down, down. Once it goes completely flatline, that's when the actual move happens. And the move can be a breakdown as well. It doesn't have to break out, right? But ultimately, if it's a bullish environment and the chart is the asset is bullish, I mean, if it breaks out and does something like this, so coils up and then goes, like you see something like this, that's like you can exit in here when this wick happens, and then you see it's not getting out of it. You get out, wait for something like this to develop, and then you get back in. And you ultimately can end up entering exactly where you left, but in the meantime, you play something else that looks good. And then this, if this ends up breaking out, you're going to be up like right away. Right away, you're in profit. And that's a great trade, especially in this environment. You don't want to just be sitting waiting for something to happen, you know? So I guess back to the original question I posed to you guys, like, what are your thoughts on like overall pulling profit out of your full portfolios at this point in time? The way I see it personally is, I mean, like about over a week ago, I made a tweet or a call in regards to BTC dominance. I think that alts still have plenty of room. I don't think it's over. BTC is flirting with 50K. It most likely gets there, I think. However, the performance of the entire market has been exceptional, nothing short of it. And not that I'm calling a top, because I won't, at least right now, but I think the only way to stay sane is to understand that you will not sell the top. Like, you won't like sell all of your portfolio at the top. It's not going to happen. Like, to 99.9% of you. Maybe one guy on here will get lucky and be like, I took all my money and left, like right on the day it topped. But if all of us were able to do that, then guess what? It's not the top, right? You can't be the top if all of the market is selling like at the same time. It doesn't work that way. The top will come when people don't think it's the top. And understanding that you're not most likely going to be able to time that is critical. So the only logical way is when price reaches levels that, you know, make sense, that at least you take some off. Or if you're trading in and out of alts all the time, if you're just a trader and you're going from position to position, you know, let's say you throw a half a Bitcoin into ICX and it goes up 20%. Well, guess what? You made, you know, what'd you make? Like $5,000? All right. At the very least, take out $2,500. Just put it in your bank account. Cash it out. You know, each trade, if you take like 50% of your trades and just put it into USD, then in essence, you are pulling out of the market. But I think when BTC gets to key levels like 50K, it doesn't hurt to take some of your portfolio and just cash it out. You know, do it a little at a time. You don't need to exit the market completely, but use stop losses, do it a little at a time. The people that got burned in 2017, 18, many of us didn't understand how markets work. Many of us used no stop losses. And I'm certain that there are people joining now that think numbers only go up. And that is not the case. And, you know, even if it becomes a bear market, there will be plays to be made on the long side, but people will get completely accustomed to longing every dip, and eventually it will stop working. So until that happens, keep doing it. But when you get those bounces, you have to take some of it out. That's it. That's how you protect yourself. That's how you keep yourself sane. And then you watch for a serious shift in the trend. It's not going to just crash and be over. That's not happening. I don't believe Bitcoin's going anywhere. We'll talk about the positive catalysts, right? There's a lot of stuff happening. It's like everything in 2017 that kind of lured us in, all these, you know, hopes and dreams, it's all coming true right now. Everything they said was true, right? It's really happening. So, you know, Bitcoin's not going anywhere. And it's just a matter of like not eating a horrible drawdown that you don't need to eat. That will also cost you all sorts of emotional stress, time, and fuck you real bad. So, you know, to avoid that, you take some money out a little at a time. That's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, so what I've been doing is that I take a bit out into BTC and a bit out into stables. Currently at a 60-40 ratio when I TP on altcoins, and I discipline myself to do it on consecutive green days because
Yeah.
if you don't do it
Today
on
would have been
those
a good
days,
day.
then
Yep.
I did it today. Yeah, like I mean, like AMP is like 400% from the bottom buys. And I added 2 days ago, like 150% ago. And what I added, like I still got my core position, but what I added for the breakout play, I just TP'd into BTC and USDC. And if you don't do that on the green days, you will, you run the danger of doing it on the red ones because you like panic and get scared. Um, like in particular, maybe if you believe that the USD side top is far away, I think what's most likely to happen is that you get scared and TP into Bitcoin when Bitcoin starts wiggling its tail. So that's the danger again, and then you miss the next alt move and you sold the bottom on the BTC pairing basically, in that structure. So that's something I've been doing. And I mean, everybody is at different points in their positions right now. Obviously, that's the most subjective thing, and everybody has different economic and social backgrounds. But the money for me that I'm sitting now on, like after 2020 and January and mid-February now, is so significant that I also like I'm running the danger of getting a clouded judgment if I just sit on it and don't and just pray for the best basically. That's what happened to me in 2017, and I didn't manage to manage my money at all on the way down. You need to build that habit on the way up. You need to you know keep yourself sane, as KJ said. Work with the numbers you have, and keep your sense of agency, right? If you stay passive for too long, you might freeze in the headlights when it gets really, really important.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I agree wholeheartedly.
And like top signs, like I saw somebody in chat say they saw Soldier Boy, Lindsay Lohan, and some and two other celebrities tweeting by now, like dot dot dot. Kobe and Legistatus and Messi, they last week they did a show where they talked about that. I think there were lots of good points in there. This market has expanded now, and the signs will be different. Like the same signs won't work again, or they need to be of a different magnitude. And Quantum also the other day made some great points on this, where he said that in actual tops, like euphoria tops, even the smartest, most rational people will get sucked in. And that's
Yes.
currently not the case, right? Like there's a lot of skepticism still left in the market right now. So you will most likely want to look for top signs that you can't even imagine right now, right? Or you would, you need to imagine them. Like you need to be very, very creative in basically forecasting those signs. Like Kobe had this, he was joking about Britain and how the Bank of England managed to sell the bottom on gold a couple of years back, and he said like when something like that happens, that the Bank of England buys, for 10% of their reserve, puts them into Bitcoin, that would be the magnitude of the top sign that he would be looking for. Which I found, it's just an example, but it shows like, countries FOMOing into it basically.
Right.
I like that.
Yeah. That's something to watch for. Because when that happens, Kobe will sell. And that will
He is
that could influence the market a bit, right? So AMP, I mean, when on the stream with Messiah last, we brought up Xavi's bottom call on AMP. And I was in alignment with it, but this is pretty fucking crazy. This is a strong ass move. Like, what do you make of this?
It's not as strong as Luna yet.
Oh,
Hmm. Oh,
let's see.
few, few. No,
Phew.
I'm kidding. Um, I'm kidding. Although I kind of tweeted about it the day before, right?
Yep.
I said Luna is AMP is the
Yep.
next Luna,
Holy
but few.
shit. Yeah.
And
Wow.
I, I mean now Luna has been taking a break,
These are the
and
two
that's why
coins
AMP.
that, just so you guys know, these are the two coins Xavi is most bullish on. He's been talking about these for some time. Luna and Amp. What a week for you, man. Unreal. Beautiful.
Yeah, pretty life changing to be honest. But the what's interesting on AMP, and I was actually observing it all night with Quantum. We were like discussing until 5 a.m. in the morning, no kidding. And just watching the book on Gemini, and it was insane. The price had a 25%, at time 30% markup on other than on Uniswap.
Really.
And we were considering maybe like doing some arbitrage or some shit, and we were actually watching the Etherscan, and one whale was doing the arbitrage and buying on Uni and market buying on Uni and selling it on Gemini, and then you would see the Gemini USD coming back into the wallet. Maybe the guy is here in the stream and listening to us. I don't know, but that was pretty crazy to see this 30% arbitrage move, and just on Gemini, people was just buying like no dips, no dips. Didn't give any dips.
Yeah.
Every dips were instantly bought back. No, not even like dips were just people dumping, and people would be like resume on buying, and so like dips were unreal because people were just market buying for like hours. That was very very weird to watch, and nothing really triggered that. Like I said, Luna ran hard, and then Luna took a break. Right, it's taking a break right now in the $6 range, and since it's taking a break, this is when M decided to run, right, and they're very similar in narrative and in use case, and so it's a season of payment, I guess. So maybe there is more there than that. Maybe we have usually a Oracle season and this and that season. Right now, maybe it's payment system season and layer two solution season. I don't know. Maybe we're seeing RSR. We're seeing RSR also starting to move its
Yeah.
ass. So
RSR starts to look very good right here.
right. Probably
Mo
RSR is
Mo,
probably the
Mo
next
High
one.
just says he's here. All right. So the amp arbitrage guy is in the house. Prove it. Prove it, bro. Prove it. Yeah, so let's look at RSR.
I got a giant on-chain short of AMP open. You gotta liquidate me. Um,
Don't tempt him. Yeah, so like,
yeah, and something else I noticed. Then I looked into like the Reddit for it and the Telegram price channel, and actually seems like lots of small wallets are buying into AMP right now on Gemini. Like lots of like more like $500, $1,000 buys making it moon. Maybe just because it's a very very cheap coin per piece on a regulated US exchange. Like people in the US don't have that much of a selection anymore when it comes to exchanges, right? Like Coinbase, Gemini, Binance US, which isn't great. So maybe that's part of it too. And then the payment narrative, I think that's something that can definitely stick with retail. It's very very easy to understand, and you got throw some big names in there. I think if it gets on Coinbase, which eventually it will, since it's been in Coinbase custody for a long time, it actually has a bit of an XRP potential, in my opinion. Like I don't want to overshield in that sense. I'm just very very bullish on Flexus FA in general. Like opposed to XRP, like the Flexer token actually has value capture basically on the network, and to an extent that is very very rare in crypto. Like there is, as far as I know, no Flexer company. Like the Flexer team holds tokens, and that's the way that like they have that instead of equity. And show me, another crypto project of that magnitude. Like I know a few in DeFi, of course, but of that magnitude that puts so much value into the token. That's very, very rare. Basically, if you own AMP and you stake it in capacity, then you have a stake in that payment network that potentially become relevant worldwide. So that's a big narrative, to my opinion.
Very interesting stuff. I'm just checking something out. I'm just curious here. Like, what from...
I see what you're doing.
You see what I'm doing, right? All right. So this is just sketchbooking here. It's not exactly the same, but Aave, which is obviously leading the market, one of the strongest performer. This spent an incredible amount of time in that flag. So let's check from the listing to the actual breakout beginning. It's like till it crosses here, like almost 2 years in consolidation. So clearly RSR not the same, but 260 days in this flag before the breakout, and then ultimately if you stretch it out to here before the real breakout, you spent over a year in this little structure, right? This was 2 years, but this is a significant amount of time. Then you get this big pump here, right? Which goes from, this is a big one, but as well with RSR, this was also a big pump. This one right here was nice, but this pump, and quite kind of similarly, you have, this is the structure of something that like pumps like this, by the way, but you have this little thing here, right? This, then you make your high, and then it dumps, and it does. But the thing is, support holds. So this, it actually stop ran this, but ultimately like this little structure here. So this guy, oh, you can't really see it, but when you zoom in like this is support. So bottom line, spends 160 days doing this. This spent 115. Now, you can't just count the days and be like, on the 115th day, this is going to happen. But what I will say is that this little move here was really the fuel to bring the high the last time. But this is only a matter of 50 days, right? It goes through a pump, consolidates, shakes around, and then takes off. 50 days. This is like 160 days in there. What I can say is that if this ends up breaking out and giving you something like this, where this pumps up and then does this real quick, it won't be long. It won't give you a long time. It won't even be that long. That's drawn poorly. Like if this does this, like this, shit. It's hard, but if it does something like that and then go, like, if you see this, just buy that. Just buy it, because the next move will completely blow this out, I think. And I think it makes a new all-time high because it's spending so much time chopping everybody the fuck out. And I remember when RSR was like on its way down, that's when you saw all these, YouTubers, all these people were shilling RSR this whole way down. I don't see anybody doing it right now, like except for the loyal RSR Rangers. But if this breaks out, you better trust and believe this is going to be a powerful move, in my opinion. And I think the market conditions are right. You're starting to see the volume. Remember what I said earlier about how these structures here, the volume creeps down. Eventually, you're going to see the volume break out. And I would be the type of person that would bet on the volume breaking out to the upside. So if you see a breakout coming above this clear resistance line here and volume keeps rising, just fucking pile in. Just smash the buy button. That's how I see that.
Luna just went from 500 million market cap to above 2,
Shit,
and
my
AMP just went from 500 to above 1, and right now RSR is 500. That's what I'm saying.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. Everybody's frustrated by RSR. And I'm sorry. Thanks for letting me know, Ronnie. My head was in the way of the Aave chart. So people probably didn't know what the hell I was talking about. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is not this has potential here. RSR, I think. I think it's got a lot of potential here. But as you can see, how many times has this frustrated people, right? Because this is a daily chart. 1, 2, 3. Like when it spends its time here, everybody's like, this is it. 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 Then this one, this last move really must have fucked people, I think. And that's why I like it now. I like it right now. Honestly, I do. Because the fact that this, like, people were like short-term traders were probably looking at this as support, and they think this is support. It's got to stay above this. Got to stay above 100, right, guys? 100 sats. Well, it goes up. Oh shit, it's going for it. Nope, no, it's not. And then it goes to 88 twice. This backbreaker here, this one, this must have killed people. And then now on the low time frame, you see the volume, right? The volume broke out to the buy side, and now you got two nice dailies in a row, and this one's trying. If this pushes through, this is it. So keep a very close eye on RSR right here, and I think you can speculate on it. You don't want it crossing below this. So like below like 85 sats, like that would start, especially if the sell volume starts to pick up, that would imply a breakdown. And then like
oh shit, Jake.
What?
Go on the 4-hour. It's a giraffe. Game over. It's going up.
All right, everybody long RSR now. Okay.
It's a giraffe. It's going up.
It's going up. Let's check it out on USD just for confirmation, because we have the Binance future traders here. But
you need to draw the giraffe, though. It doesn't work otherwise.
Shit, you're better at that than I am.
But you see the two legs, and then the neck, and then the head coming down, the bull flag.
Yes, but look at it on the USD side too. Like, this is stupid bullish. Okay, looks good. Looks very good. So RSR Rangers, I think your time has come. Your time has come, boys. Anyway, what else? What else should we talk about? What else do we want to talk about? Quantum, anything you want to add? Or is your mute button?
Quantum is super.
Sure. Yeah, I would love to add
Here he is.
Some content. I have some things to share on altcoin dominance, on just a few big caps, and some broad, helpful analysis that can really help anybody in any condition right now.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it.
Alrighty, I'm gonna be sharing my screen, getting on this right now. Let me know if everybody can see.
You're live.
Well, not on my side yet. Not on my side yet.
Catch up like 5 to 10 seconds.
We can definitely appreciate the HD quality of your screen sharing, though.
Yeah, that's awesome, but the stream is still in 480.
Shut up.
Yeah, I think
This is still the best stream that nobody's doing this. I'm telling you, nobody is doing this.
No.
Nobody does. If you guys, we have like 200 people here. That's pretty good. But just you compare the quality of these streams versus whatever else you're looking at, and come back and tell me what you think, because
hold on, like only 33 thumbs up right now. Like we should not.
This is why I don't. This is another reason why I don't do these.
Just stop until this is like 50, maybe, or maybe like 75. I don't know, and then I don't know. Like there we go. It's going up. It's going up. Come on.
Yeah, we don't do these like very often. We do these by ourselves within the dojo. Like literally before I jumped on this, we were in there for like an hour and a half talking about like every fucking alt. So, it's more like Xavi has already done this for the past 2 hours. Like, he's not doing this for his health. Okay, so at the very least, give us some likes, please. Like,
We got like 15. Come, you guys are
15.
greedy.
Oh man, they're stingy with their likes. All right, Q, what do you got?
All right. So I want to start off with talking about altcoin dominance and the importance of recognizing when it is time to sell altcoins, right? That is, part of the title. When is it time to sell altcoins? So, that being said, we're gonna have to actually assess a tool. We're gonna have to use one of these tools to kind of help identify where that top could be on the entire altcoin market space. Will some alts top out before others? Absolutely. Did we see that behavior back in 2017? Absolutely. Did we see popcorn behavior where you had like something like Digibyte make a run, and then you had BitShares, and then Siacoin, and these guys weren't always all correlated at the same time. You did have popcorn like pumps that were happening. And you had people that would nail it, that would jump from alt to alt to alt to alt, and they would compound profit ridiculously. And some people that would jump from coin to coin, missing every pump and not catching anything. But all of these movements that you're seeing in altcoins are only, in my analysis, going to be viable and able to occur through the help of the Bitcoin dominance chart, right? If the climate is supporting altcoin movement, then that means majority of altcoins can have their parades, right? We did have some anomalies back then in these downtides of the altcoin dominance losing value. One of them was Chainlink back over here. But right now we have a full altcoin season essentially. And I'm going to look at some altcoins and show you examples of some big caps that just aren't performing at all, and they're very likely not going to perform. And when the show's up, the show's up. Whether your coin moved or not, doesn't really matter anymore. When the window of opportunity is up, the window of opportunity is up. So now we're going to get into discussing what that window of opportunity is. What are we even looking at? And where I think that this is headed. And so how long our window of opportunity could even be for altcoins before I get into anything else. So just going to talk about this, ETH, Litecoin, Cardano, Uniswap, and some small caps, mid caps, just that have potentials to run a lot further. So, and then Bitcoin, of course, and then total altcoin market cap to kind of discuss what a top is going to look like and kind of how early we are in regards to that. So, all right, without further ado, I'm just going to jump right into it. So what we're looking at right here is a human behavior crash cycle. I'm a disciple of Livermore. Livermore stated that whatever has happened in the past in terms of the markets would always happen again because Wall Street hasn't changed and human emotions and behavior hasn't changed for thousands of years. So, you can see crash cycles on many different charts that are relatable, including what we're seeing right now, the altcoin dominance. And if you want a good idea of what exactly I'm talking about, if you're unfamiliar with what a crash cycle is, this is what I'm talking about right here. Psychology of a market cycle. This, in regards to your altcoin dominance, this is what we've essentially played out right here. And the sentiment that you're likely going to see in the disbelief is complete delusion in terms of, I'm expecting to see this disbelief to come up to the neckline of the euphoria complacency shoulder over here. So, so far, we have had a full crash cycle back from 2018. I do not see personally altcoin dominance ever going back to where it was again. That level of hype that we saw during those times will probably be unrivaled for a very, very long time. Doesn't mean that altcoins can't move, but this is a textbook crash cycle with a 5-count Elliott wave. And, Elliott waves on lower resolutions can absolutely be very subjective, but when it comes to something on this magnitude and this size, it's a bit harder to kind of mold it into something that it isn't. I mean, this is what you see. This is, generally speaking, this is a 5-count Elliott wave with a crash cycle of euphoria complacency shoulder at the top. This is your depression. This is your reinflation. This is where it kicks out everybody. And this is the beginning of what I usually call a yin yang, where it fails to break down out of a major range. And when it fails to break down out of that major range, it does the complete opposite and kind of rubber bands and slaps right into the neckline of the euphoria complacency shoulder, which also is correlated to the psychology of a market cycle, cheat sheet crash cycle, essentially. And so what we're looking for at this point is disbelief. And that move that kicked everybody out was the depression on altcoins. and a lot of people were exiting at that
Called it
time.
live too. Called the
And
top
we
of that.
haven't. Mhm.
Sorry.
And we haven't seen disbelief at all yet. So we have a window of opportunity here, and that's not to say that some of your altcoins will continue the entire time, right? Some are going to be done beforehand. So you shouldn't be using this chart as a guide to dictate when to exit your individual alt. You should use your individual alt, and its individual chart to dictate when you're going to take that exit. Not this. This is just a guide of a kind of like, think of it as the season is in your favor. Like it's still summer. And when we do get closer and closer to this target, we start to come closer and closer to winter. So in my analysis and in my, and what I will be doing, and again, this is not financial advice, but what I will be doing is that when the altcoin dominance does come to this area, I'll be looking to literally siphon 90 to 95% of my altcoin positions back into BTC or back into USD, depending on where BTC is in the market cycle. But so far right now, we're still very early based on this chart that I'm looking at right here. We failed to break down. This starts to cause implications. We came back into the channel and now we're consolidating. So big moves take time to develop. We're not going to get here in 2 days, 3 days, but as long as nothing changes structurally in this chart, then there is no reason for me to think that anything different is going to happen, right? At this point, some people might ask, well, what's the speed? How soon are we going to get there? The only way that we can tell in terms of speed of how fast that something can potentially get to a target is based on the geometrical angles that it's taking of strength. So if I was to assume that we hold this geometrical level of strength without going any more parabolic, we'd be holding on this trend line for a good 65 days if we don't become any more parabolic. Now, if we do become more parabolic, then we can reach this target sooner. If we start to range in here, break out, right? Or if we start to break out of it right here, we can get there sooner. But generally speaking, I'm looking at about a 2-month time frame to get to this area. So I have in my analysis and in my trading right now in regards to altcoins and what I'm holding, I'm looking for about a 2-month window for my guys to wrap up. And whether or not whatever I'm holding makes a move, it doesn't make a move. When the altcoin dominance gets here, I'm going to realize that, okay, it might be time to start booking that profit back into BTC or USD, because we could be wrapping up on the entire altcoin crash cycle. And after disbelief, it doesn't end. Generally, after disbelief, you fade back out. And sometimes, not all the time, and sometimes you'll lead into a new market cycle, which breaks the old highs. Not all the time. Given that this is a dominance chart and not a chart of, a stock like CRISPR, for example, not an individual stock or individual coin, it's very unlikely that the altcoin dominance will break new all-time highs and reach heights that were further than it even was back in 2018. That's a little bit of an unrealistic situation to expect that. So
You think so?
As of right now, I think so. If the technicals reveal something different, I'm ready to adapt, of course, right? So if the
Basically just for the audience, because not everybody's even understands what you're looking at right now. This is basically the inverse of BTCD, correct?
Yes, this is the inverse of Bitcoin dominance. So this is altcoin dominance. The inverse of Bitcoin dominance is altcoin dominance,
Right.
and vice versa.
Right. So what you're saying is alts can pull into this kind of, but wouldn't that imply, if this was disbelief, that would imply that it's going to continue, no? And one of the fallacies, in my opinion, of charting something like BTCD, I chart it, but I think people tend to forget that it's finite. Like 100% Bitcoin dominance, like it existed because altcoins didn't exist, but you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. Like altcoins will never not exist, and it will never actually go to. I don't think that's possible for it to go to 100% dominance at one point. So I think like when you're charting it, and not you, I mean people in specific, you have to be mindful of that there are certain levels that are unrealistic. And when people are talking about 80% dominance or going back to 90% dominance, when you compare like the development, stride, and interest within cryptocurrency that is not just unique to Bitcoin, I don't think we could ever go back to like the beginning where Bitcoin was the only coin, and then all these scam coins came out, to get more Bitcoin, it's kind of changed, in my opinion. So like, how do you account for that within the chart? Because it's something that I have to do. I have to account for it.
So are you asking, how do you account for the changing dynamics of the altcoin space within the chart?
Right, and also being that this is like a percentage chart, right? Not like
Yes.
not a market cap. It's a percentage. So there is a top. There's a level that it cannot go further than. Period. Right?
Yes. As a pure technical analyst, the chart itself is a representation of the current conditions of the altcoin space. So like, since I'm a pure technical analyst, I rely on the chart to tell me the truth of how the space is developing. And like, if we do ever come to a point where altcoins are really actually like giving Bitcoin a run for its money at some point in the future, which I don't think that that's going to be this cycle, we would see it in the chart. And even if it is this cycle, things just don't take off in one day. They slowly build. You have time to, they set up, they fail to break back down below levels that they should be breaking down after. And then, the thesis is disproven that, okay, this is a top. And from here, we do end up going higher, right? From here, we do end up going higher. And so it's like, it would be something that would have to be like played step by step. There's no, I would be completely ignorant to assume that this is the reality that occurs without looking at the level by level and saying, okay, if we do come here, we're probably going to get like hit on the head. Like this is going to be a resistance area. And it's like, if I'm proven wrong and we do structure out above this entire geometrical level, then I can say, okay, now we actually have a possibility to actually come to the complacency shoulder level. And then if we violate that, we're likely going to break the all-time high on the altcoin dominance. So I'm relying on the chart to tell me the truth about the altcoin space and whether or not it's time for altcoins to really give Bitcoin a run for its money. But until then, I have to play it level by level so I can play it as safe as possible so I don't get caught off guard with a bias, or I get caught off guard, having a different idea than what the market is objectively, saying in terms of danger. So in terms of danger, first line of order, this is where it would run into. And then if it can hold above that, and if it can structure above that, and if it can stay there without getting rejected as a V-top, then we can actually start speculating, okay, this is turning into something more. So as a trader, you kind of have to let the market give you some data and then work with some data, give you some data and then work with some data. So like,
charting this definitely works, by the way, guys, because there's some discussion in regards to it. But I guess my original question was like, how do you handle it when it gets to like the extremes, of the chart? So like, if you're looking at it as the crash cycle where this is disbelief, then it makes a new chart. It can't actually like pump through to the sky and then make a new cycle because it can get to 100% or 0%, right? Which will never happen.
I would chart it in a logarithmic scale, and because it's never gonna go back to a 100, right? So it's never gonna go to the bottom because, like you said, alt actually exists now. And now if it breaks above 90, what's the top? Like we can actually go to 0, right? That's the thing. And then it will never happen. Bitcoin will never become irrelevant that we will go to a BTC dominance, it gets 0. So if you chart it on the logarithmic scale, that's I think what's gonna help you and what matters in terms of percentages.
But regardless of, this is still likely going to be respected level by level, right? We can go back in time and see, hey, this was a bull flag. Hey, this was a bull flag. Hey, this was a bear flag. So it's like, we can still go back in time and see that, in terms of technical analysis, this was a failed shockwave breakout. It ripped back out, retested.
Oh, sorry. Go.
Oh, no worries at all. No worries at all. Like, you feel free to, jump in and,
Xavi has fans in the chat. Xavi's so sexy. So your green box, what is that level for you on BTCD? Because I want to see if we're at the same level.
Okay, this green box right here. Okay, the first area right here, this first green box is the neckline of the euphoria complacency shoulder.
But like on BTCD, percentage wise, what is that? Is that 50?
Oh, okay, right on. I would have to pull up the BTCD chart. I don't have that right here. I just have the inverse.
I want to see if we're on the same page here.
24% from here.
I think I think we have the same level there. I just want to show the guys, because the people in the chat, ye of little faith. So this was When? The 3rd, okay? So 8 days ago, FBTC is in the beginning of a bull market. BTCD is in a bear flag that will ultimately break down to at least 49, right? So that's where I was looking, is like 49. But let me see.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's the
that's the
same
exact
area.
same level. So we have the same level, but just so you guys know, like, here, let me find it. I just want to show them something because this was how we were able to call the bottom on alts, like altogether. The fuck is it? Yeah. All right. So this is on January 6th. So pull up your chart. Can you isolate January 6th where that is?
January 6th. Yes, I can isolate that on the daily.
Yeah.
Yeah, January 6th is the literal, I think that is the very beginning of
Alt season.
Right.
That's the 2B, right?
That was it.
yes, yeah,
Right.
yes.
So this is what
Exactly the
this is what I
point,
this is what I
the
mean when I
gold entry
say
on the 2B.
this is what I mean when I say called the exact bottom of it, right? And I told you guys in the chat, in the dojo, I pinged everybody, fucking buy alts now. Just buy. Buy. Stop being a bitch. Buy. Like buy, hold, buy the dip. This is a generational bottom. You make 4 trades like this a year, you make money. That was January 6th, right?
Buy anything. Buy anything.
You remember that, right?
Yeah.
So this was
And
something sorry.
something that also freaks me out about it is that even bull diffs and bear diffs work on that chart. Like it's not traded. It's just data, and every top on BTC dominance, or like bottom in this case, every in the case of Quantum's chart, every top on BTC dominance does this like higher push with the bear divergence since September 2019. Each one, like you could have called each top.
So
with the bear.
Cornholio
And
says
I think I
oh.
did also
Yeah.
most of them.
Cornholio
like,
says,
full
so you can
FTX.
throw money at any alt based on that chart and make money. How can you use it? So it's not just the chart. So I was looking at it, 73 was the level. I'm like, this is going to break. If this breaks up, like if it goes past 73, then like, I don't know. I guess something crazy is happening, like completely unprecedented. But 73 is the area where I really would expect this to be rejected. Like I couldn't see it not being rejected there. And it shoots up to 73. But at the same time, it's doing it while BTC is dipping, which is making the market extremely scary. And XRP is dumping 60% in a fucking day after already dumping for days and days and days. And you have the SEC, so people are scared. And Link is dumping 35%. And everything is dumping, and people are freaking out. I'm getting text messages on my phone saying, should I sell everything, from people that aren't really in crypto, and BTC dominance has just hit 73. So what do? I go to the fucking dojo and I tag everybody and I say, just buy, buy now, okay? Because I have multiple points of data that I'm using at that moment, right? Like something like SKL. I didn't even know what it was. I didn't care. It dumped 40%. It's new on Binance. Guess what? If you long SKL on that day, you know, it's crazy. It's crazy. But people are asking me, like, should we sell tomorrow? Should I sell now? I'm like, you could take profit because there's going to be another dip. And I gave you the re-entry on the dip. But that's ultimately the bottom, like, of a swing trade. So when you get a day where everything dumps 30%, 50%, whatever, and it's still a bull market, you just long and, like, don't sell it the next day. Just play it as if it's a swing trade, because you do that a couple times a year and like your portfolio can go fucking ballistic. But just wanted to reiterate to the people in the chat that are kind of like, BTCD, it doesn't work. Like, yes, it does. I'll show you the messages. Like there are people in the chat. If you're in the dojo, you can verify what happened that day. Like it was the bottom of everything.
Maybe I could speak towards
Yeah.
like how it
Speak
doesn't
away.
work, like
Okay.
or what the weaknesses are.
Yes.
What it doesn't really display is how old coins are being cycled out for new ones, right? There were moments in that chart where it didn't really do much, and DeFi was already pumping as fuck.
That's a good
While
point.
XRP was dying, for
Very
example,
important point.
and was like eating so much altcoin market cap that obviously it made up for what DeFi was gaining at that point in time. And that's why looking at, for example, CoinGecko has awesome DeFi metrics like DeFi dominance, stuff like that. That helps to supplement your data in that regard. It was something I pointed out on Twitter at the time too, that people who were just at that point in time, I don't really remember which month that was, but at that point in time, who were just ultra focused on this chart could have missed that. That there was a market to play that was gaining actually against the rest of the altcoins. So that's in my opinion a weakness of this chart, but that doesn't mean that it can't be a super important data point in nailing those swings, basically, when it hits the extremes.
Everything as a trader, a trader should be using everything in his tool belt that he can. Like, you're always better off with more information. The more information you can have, and like, even if this is valuable 50% of the time, it's still a huge edge. Even if it's valuable 30% of the time, it's still a huge edge. As long as there is some way to extract value from this, it should be used. I mean, you're going to be you're going to be having a superior data set than somebody else if you every data point. I think of data points as every data point that I have that suggests that something is going to happen from a technical standpoint increases the probability of that event happening. And then whenever you add stuff like sentiment along with it, then it just starts dramatically increasing the probability of that event happening. And then as you're watching it live with all those data points that you had in mind, and now the actual move is happening and you know exactly why, because all those, all those data points,
everything lines up, everything lines up, and then you can make a decision, 100%, 100%. So I want to pivot the stream because we've been going for about an hour. You guys, we have 200 viewers, but I only have 89 likes. So I want to wrap this up soon because you guys don't appreciate shit. But at the end of the day, let's look at a couple alt charts. I'll let the room, the chat room, like they literally can't bother to give a fuck to press a thumbs up. Like, not that it matters to me, but they're just lazy.
We didn't give them the chit chat on the news though, right? Like on Mastercard and PayPal.
You want to do that?
I just
they don't care. They just want to know what's gonna moon. They just want to know if like they're gonna throw a bunch of tickers at me, and I gotta be like a dancing bear and pull the chart up, and then fucking like tell them if their financial like hopes are still alive. Like that's basically how this works, Like, how about this? How about I don't talk about crypto at all, and I talk about strip clubs or something else that interests me.
Strip clubs.
I don't know. Something that's gonna make me laugh. Like
the first thing top of your head. Yeah.
Oh, man.
I mean, no strip clubs during lockdowns, right?
I think there are somewhere actually. It's been a while.
Clandestine strip clubs.
Basically every crypto trading stream ever. What's he talking about? This is not like every crypto stream trading ever. Please, yeah. Please tell me my coin will move. Yeah, that's it. That's exactly what they want. That's all they want. So H bar. Let's look at H bar. One of the good, bad, and the pumpies. I mean, it's pretty good, right? Like we called that down here. Super bullish move here. Then the bull flag. Hey, this was my projection. Looks pretty accurate, no? What do you think? Like that, I drew that. I was like, yeah, now it's gonna do this. I think this was on a Dojo Sunday call, but yeah. So now it's doing this part of this. So, like, I thought we were gonna end up here, to be honest, test this MA because these levels, but I saw that like, okay, it really kind of went low, and then it's not going down there. We don't want to go below 200. So then the next direction is up pretty much. And also you have this. Hey, what's this? Volume broke out. upside. You've now completely reclaimed this level. This wick right here is resistance. 282, basically 300 is the resistance level, but we blew right through it, and now we're starting to push up again. I would say if you cross 333, like 330, something like that, ultimately 350. But if it goes over 350, you're going to 500 sats. Like this really looks incredibly bullish to me, in my opinion. So.
And it's a hashtag good project.
Yeah, yeah, this is legit
Big
shit
time.
right here. It's legit. So,
Big time.
like H bar, both of the good, bad, and the pumpy coins happen to be looking really good right now. They just happen to be. You know, I wasn't expecting to talk about both of them, but H bar and RSR both look really good. This guy keeps spamming Rook. I will give it to you. Rook actually is looking good. From last I saw, it's looking good. But
Rook also did that super choppy thing. It's like the same. It's the same emotional fractal as MPH because the same people are in it.
yeah, Messiah has his own fractal. It's the Messiah
Yeah.
fractal. But like when you look at like this is Rook USD, right? Like this looks great, right? I don't know why anybody would be complaining here, but it just made another high. But let's look at Rook ETH. I think that's what you want, right? Let's see.
Yeah, basically Rook resolved like
Oh, yeah.
yesterday. Like before it was a bit painful for people, and since yesterday,
Yeah,
it's like it's moving harder than MPH now.
yeah. So let's look at this. Why? What the fuck? I want to measure like how many days it's spent in this. Why? Here we go. So a month. It spent a month chopping people up in here, pretty much. So like some people like lost their conviction within that time watching other stuff just take off. So every time it goes up here and then doesn't break out, like somebody sells, right? So spent a month in this range, like above this range, right? This is accumulation, breaks above, spends a month here. Ultimately, like a breakout, and see, look, we made another high here. This is that's why I said
Looking
like
really good.
yeah, it looks good to me. Like yesterday, I was looking at it, I was like, oh, it's happening. So to me, Rook looks good now. Such a Rook snob. Why does Messiah hate Arch? Oh, yeah, he's a Rook snob. KJ, go back to Vet. Yeah, Vet. I've been saying Vet looks mad bullish. Looks really bullish, especially on USDT side. Like, what? I mean, what else do you need? That's bullish. Period.
I think the master node is worth approximately half of what it was worth at the 2018 top, which
Yeah.
is remarkable in my opinion that it's back there again.
So now we've spent 110 days in this range. This is a bull flag, right? Kind of similar to RSR, but literally it's been going down for 220 days. So if this breaks out to the upside above this last MA right here, you get over 100 sats, like this is going to go fucking wild too. It's kind of crazy to think, but it's going to, I mean, from a technical perspective, this looks very good. It's like but this can reject again, right? It can. You're starting to see the volume break out. It could break out in the form of a rejection and like you get this nasty candle, but I'm not certain that's going to happen. But if this happens to cross over 100 sats and start to gain acceptance there, it's going to look really good. Like, bottom line is everything looks good for the most part. Most stuff looks pretty fucking good, in my opinion.
I'm laughing so hard right now because Callow in the dojo said, "Savage marketing for the dojo. KJ calling everyone in the stream ungrateful fucks."
Hey, I call it like it is, boys. I call it like it is.
Actually, right now, 122 likes over 180 watching. It's pretty good because
Okay.
many people
Tough
are
love,
All
right?
right.
It
All right.
works.
Yeah, no, see, that's the
Well,
thing. I
they-
have to yell at you.
Maybe people are like still like an hour, a half hour behind. Like this is a pretty good ratio. I think maybe we can drop more of those.
Yeah, should we do more streams in the future? I don't know. It's so tiresome because I see like these other guys that are like, ooh, like in their fucking thing, like they're sucking a cock, and they make these thumbnails and they get 40,000 views, and the shit that they're saying is like, they're all saying the same thing. First of all, like they all watch each other's shit and say the same thing, and then they don't actually give you anything real. Like they're not giving you anything. It's just telling you what you want to hear over and over and over, regardless of what the chart is telling you. It doesn't matter. So, it's very disheartening. And I'm like, why am I going to do this when I know something will be wrong with my stream? My video quality won't be good. I'll have an echo. Then I'll get neurotic about my echo. I won't be able to focus. I might tell people the wrong thing. Fuck this. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And, it is what it is. But not for nothing. Like, I start to see the same people on Twitter, the same people that watch these streams. Like, I got mad love for these guys. Like, I know for certain there have been people that may have just discovered my channel or have been watching me in 2017. I might have let you down. And they kind of stuck with it. And what I can say is, like, if you go back and track, like, the stuff that we've done on these streams for the past year and a half, check the Twitter. I know for certain my performance is outstanding. Our performance is exceptionally good. Xavi and Stillman, their reputation speaks for itself, and it's not just because, like, these guys don't miss, period. And, the people that pay attention to what we're doing, they're making money. And I get messages from people saying, like, they paid off their house or they paid off their student loan. Like, that shit is good enough for me. So I'm going to stick to my Francis Ngannou shit. I don't care if you don't like my shit. I'm going to still make videos. And, it is what it is, right? There's 200 people
And
here. I want to give them. I want to give them something. I want to give them something.
So somebody was asking about my new cipher chart. If you don't mind, I'll pull that up real
Yeah,
quick.
let's go for it.
Let's hope it's still there because Chartex has that tendency to delete.
You know
my
what it
posts.
is? It's like there's like this guy's asking me about Twitter, but there's like a conglomerate. It's kind of like high school, you know what I'm saying? Like it's very cliquey, right? So I know my shit is fire, like in every aspect. My Twitter account is fire. Like if you follow me, compare me to these other fuckers. I give you good advice and I make you laugh. But it's like big accounts won't touch my shit. They won't like, they won't read, they won't touch it. They won't touch it. I'm blackballed. And I don't care. Donate button, fuck that. I don't ask for money from anybody. I'm not asking for donations. I don't like that shit. But, Francis is going to knock Steep the fuck out. Period. Bet Francis KO. I'm telling you. He's going to knock him out. There's no way that guy is not winning. No way. Francis with the KO. Yeah, the crypto.
Okay.
Yeah, crypto's tough for women. It's a tough, but the women that come, it's like some of them like, it's tough. Yeah, let Twitter centipede each other. Yeah, it's fine. We don't care. We don't care what they do. And some of the people are mad cool. Like there's a lot of people I like on there. I try to get along with everybody. There's a lot of people I like. Like shout out to Benjamin Blunt. Shout out to Messiah. Shout out to Akado. Shout out to Anna Bessa. Loma. Crypto's cool.
Charles.
Charles.
Like puts up mad value too.
Yeah. Charles got the gems.
Mikey, don't forget Mikey.
Yeah,
Mikey,
Crypto
Crypto
Mikey,
61, Spec Mikey.
Bagsy. I'll throw Bagsy on there because he's he's all right. We had our differences, but I wonder what Bagsy is up to. Like he
He's isn't Baxi doing this like news spot on Telegram that's gotten really popular?
Is he?
And is pretty useful actually.
Oh really? He's doing well. Good for him.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's like a really useful service because it's very condensed and gives you like, that news feed basically for crypto.
Oh, good
I
for
like
him.
that.
Good for him. I remember he used to do a lot of streams and he stopped. Biker boy, you trade for cars and yachts. I trade for child support and vasectomy. Damn right. I got that vasectomy too. I got some like little cum cups that I gotta fill up to make sure that my cum doesn't have sperm in it anymore. So I thought I actually went to I was at the urologist earlier this week because Valentine's Day is coming up, right? So I'm like, oh shit, we're gonna take it for the test drive. So I had the post-op, and I thought like they were gonna check my sperm. So I was like, I show up to the place, and I'm like ready to jerk off in a cup and stuff. He's like, you don't do that here. like, oh shit. But yeah. These are the things that I just like don't have anybody to talk to about, and that's the fun part about this stream for me. Is like there's shit that happens in my life that I just want to talk about, and I have no one to talk to about. So like I'll just
So you
like
can tell everyone.
yeah, I'll tell everyone. I don't care, but I have 2 cum cups that I need to fill up soon, so they can make sure that the vasectomy worked. But
Okay, while
yeah,
you're doing
hold
that,
real quick,
I'll
real
cover
quick
these
though.
charts.
Listen to this. So this is what happened. The urologist goes, we're gonna have to check you in 2 months, and make sure that because when you get a vasectomy, you could have like old sperm in your balls that like are still there. So he's like, you have to make sure you unload like 30 loads before you have unprotected sex or you have a baby. So so he's like, in 2 months we're gonna check you and make sure. So here I am. He's like, but in 2 weeks we're gonna need a post-op. But in my mind, I'm like, no, I'm gonna try to get 30 nuts in like 2 weeks so that on the post-op visit we can check the sperm. So I'm good. That's what I was doing. So I went to the guy and he's like, I'm like, so when do I jerk off? And he's like, no, we're not doing that today. And I'm like, no, but you told me 20 or 30 loads. I made sure I got my 30 in. He's like, holy shit, this guy's fucking crazy. Like, like the doctor was like, holy shit. He was shocked. I'm like, no, I did it. I did 30 nuts,
Doctor was shocked.
He was shocked. It's a true story. But long story short, we didn't check. So now I can't have unprotected sex until I do the test. But Stillman, you can take over now. I just had
So-
I had to share that with somebody because it was fucking hilarious to me. To me, it was funny. The look on the doctor's face when he was like, you have to do 20 to 30 ejaculations. It usually takes 2 months. And I said, 2 months? I did that shit in 2 weeks, motherfucker. I was telling my wife, I was like, I did 5. I got 6. I'm like, we almost hit 30, baby. Just wait. Like a few days in, I'm like 14. She's like, what are you talking about? I'm like 14. All right, that's enough. I'll stop.
Oh wow. So the only animal that could beat you at this is obviously an octopus, which is why I'm starting with the octo chart.
88 nuts.
88. Okay, so
The doctor.
and the reason, like somebody asked about the Lucifer chart, and the reason why I saw this chart very clearly was because I 2 weeks earlier I did the same thing for Octo. So if you remember Quantum's chart on altcoin dominance, and he pointed out that was a crash cycle. So you had at the top you had a complacency, or like maybe the complacency is in here, and this is like the bear market, and if you imagine this was Bitcoin in 2017, right? That's the top, and then it ranges, and this is 6K, and everybody says 6K will hold, 6K will hold. It doesn't. You get the capitulation, you get the quick reaccumulation down here, breakout, and I think this is where I called Octo. I said, okay, this is like, this is the
Beautiful.
end of Octo's market cycle on the 4-hour. It's now ready to move again. And that worked. And since then, Octo has been pretty choppy, but like on the USD side, I think it still looks pretty interesting. Oh, this looks super. Please ignore this shit. Yeah, this is vertical accumulation. Like eventually, this will only up, right?
Only up. Octo
only
is only up.
Okay, so now Nucifer came around, and this is something that I followed like back in
Oh, wow.
summer.
Look at
I was
that.
interested in it. I wanted to do the work log where they had like a super interesting distribution method, and I ended up not putting the Ethereum in because I wanted to do something else with it. So I missed that. And then somebody brought it up again, and I looked at the chart, and you get the same thing: the blow off, the bear market here, BTC 6K, right? It capitulates, has a way longer reaccumulation, just this range, which you can really call an accumulation range. And then it does the same thing, right? Like it does the breakout and the bull flag, and I didn't extend that far enough, but it even like hits exactly that mid range of the accumulation range.
Like that level
And
right
that
there.
was the perfect entry.
That's free. That's literally free money. This. You see this, and then this, right here. On the outside of the
Yeah.
bull flag, you get
And
like a
that-
little structure. That's free money. You just fucking long the shit out of that.
And that
Right
was
away.
like 130% move.
Easy.
And you know what's funny is like AMP, it's the same move. The thing that I called,
It's
like
always the same.
like on Twitter 2 days ago, I said that. Where is it? Oh wait, this was actually Nucifer USD. Here, this flag, how this looked and curved upwards, reminded me a lot of how this flag evolves basically. And I was like, okay, this is close to breaking out, and oh, what happened? We're rich.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure Ethereum went up during that time. Yeah, so but that's basically my the background on this Nucifer chart. It's just that it's this idea of a market cycle coming to an end. And it doesn't matter that it's in the 4-hour, right? Like this is a very, very young chart, so you can't be on such a high time frame. It did like its early pump, and then price had to play out until it was ready again. And now this could, if you think back to what Quantum said, this could be a reflation, right? Like it could break everybody again and then go again. Who knows? Maybe it's ready already. Maybe it needs to shake everybody out again before it's allowed to go. Yeah, that's the story of that new Nucifer chart.
Very interesting stuff, but it's clearly in a bull market now, in my opinion, as well. It can revisit.
Yeah.
You know what's
I would
interesting? What I notice about
I would
this?
also lean towards continuation. I would lean towards continuation.
You can get a wick into that range again. That happens.
That would be super nasty. Yeah, could happen.
That happens very often. When you have a range where it spends multiple days, not multiple days, like months, like 30 days, 40 days, 60 days in this tight little range, you get the breakout and it doesn't continue. The pullback goes back into that range and then shoots right the fuck out of it, like super fast. So you could even put like stink bids like at the top of that range, if you get the that. If you understand what I'm saying, few will understand what I'm saying, but
yeah,
it's very important actually, because you see levels that you spend a tremendous amount of time in. They ultimately almost always end up at least giving you a wick back into the level one last time. And then when that happens and it bounces, then it's over for that level. Unless if it goes back to it after that, then it's bearish, right? So an hour and a half in, I've done enough. I need to I need to do something. My wife is probably gonna be upset. I gotta do something with the family, but this was a fun stream. I enjoyed it. What do you guys think? You guys like this? It's been a while, like a few weeks at least since we did a stream. Nobody complained about my 480p yet. I felt good about it.
Blockpain liked it.
Blockpain liked it. Blockpain's another guy who can knock out 30 in like 2 weeks. I guarantee you. I know that. I remember him. Yeah, he'll fill those cups right up. You know. Oh man. Anyway, yeah, we're gonna do this again. Soon, because I feel like it's my duty. I have to do more of these streams because these other guys suck and we're underappreciated. So if you like this, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, give me some encouragement to do these again, because I actually do enjoy doing these very much. And it's just like the in between doing them. I just got to get back into the flow. And if you didn't listen to Francis Ngannou on Joe Rogan, I suggest you go do that. That will really
That's actually on my list now.
It will give you a tremendous amount of perspective on your life. Like, you can't complain. Like, this guy literally, like, he was talking about how he had to cross the Sahara Desert on like a Toyota Tacoma, and there was like 30 people in the back of the pickup truck, and they hold on to the side of the truck, and if someone falls off, they don't stop. Like, if you fall off, you're dead, right? If the truck breaks down, everybody on the truck is dead. They're only allowed to bring a certain amount of water. So they fucking go through the Sahara Desert. Then they have to cross the ocean to try to get to Spain. But he said he tried like 7 times, like on these like little rafts, and they're pedaling with their hands. 7 times they got rejected by border security. And eventually he made it through, and then shows up in France homeless. He's sleeping in a car garage. He's never really fought. And he shows up at some gym with no money, homeless, and saying like, hey, like, I don't have money, but I want to be the world champion. Teach me. And within like 3 months of that day, he wins his first MMA fight. And then the rest is kind of history. But this guy the thing that stuck out the most to me was like, he never lost hope of his dream. And even when he made it to France and he was homeless, he said he was so happy. He was so happy because he's like, I have an opportunity. So if you're watching this stream, if you're in crypto, wherever you are in the world, like, you have an opportunity. You have a dream. If you don't try, you're a loser, period. If you try, like, at least you tried. Even if you fail, you're not a loser because you tried, and you get up and try again. This guy tried 7 times to cross the ocean to get to Europe as a homeless person. He didn't give up. He kept getting sent back by the police. He kept trying, So it's just a lesson. It's something that I'm taking seriously, and it really kind of refocused myself. Where I'm like, you know what? Hey, I only get 100 likes. I have 200 people watching. Half the people don't even want to bother to like. Okay, I'm still gonna try. Because this is my dream. Okay. So, if anybody has anything else to say, I think we're ready to shut it down, right?
I think we can keep going inside the dojo, right? I mean, I'm sure Quantum and Stillman are down to keep going. We can shut the stream on
Quantum
YouTube,
keep going for like 4 hours. I would have shut it down.
I know.
We can keep going. Yeah. Let's keep going.
We
I'm gonna
might
go eat.
not be at the altcoin mania top, but Xavi is deep in mania. Streaming mania.
It's Xavi